So for us to do that, let's first of all come right here to this file browser, click that. Now you can see this is our Jupyter notebook. As we know, we have attached it to our EMR, right? Then I will double click this. When I double click, you can see it's asking me to select the kernel. Okay, so I'm going to choose pyspark right here, and then I'll say select. So now you can see our cluster is attached. If I put my cursor here, you can see my cluster name, right? And now you can see this is pyspark right here. Very good, guys. I hope you guys get this right now. So now if you go back to our PowerPoint, if you come back to our PowerPoint, now you can see that we have provisioned Amazon EMR. We have also created our Jupyter notebook, and we have attached it to our Amazon EMR cluster. Okay, we have created all the necessary S3 buckets. Okay, now what we have to do now is to install, or to import Spark session in our notebook, and then start writing pyspark code to be able to extract data from the Redfin data center link. Okay, let us get that going, guys. Okay, so now let's go to this. Well, before we go to the Redfin link, let us import. I'm going to be doing some copy and pasting right here, guys. Let us do this import from pyspark.sql, import Spark session, and then pyspark.sql.functions import call. Okay, so if for you to run this, just press your shift enter. On my Windows, I press shift enter. I think it should be the same thing for Mac users as well. I think just give that a try. For me, I'm using Windows. I'll press shift enter. So if I press shift enter, you can see that execution has started. So it's starting Spark session. And then let me see if I can zoom this. Let me see if I can zoom it. Okay, very good. I think this is better. Okay, this is better. Now you can see that it is running. Okay, so some of the codes we are going to be running right here might take some time. Okay, so take note. What I'm going to be doing is that for anyone that is taking time, I'm going to pause the video, let it finish running, and then we come back to take a look at the result. That way we don't make this video long unnecessarily. Okay, so now you can see this is still running because it has asterisk. Okay, so that means subsequently in this video, while I'm running this Jupyter notebook, if there is anyone that is asterisk and is taking some time, I'm going to pause the video, let it run in the background, and then I will come back to the video while it is when it finished running. Okay, very good, guys. If you are liking this video, guys, if you like this video, if you find it valuable, go ahead and click that like button. Okay, and if you have not subscribed, subscribe right now and share these videos among your friends. Okay, all right, guys, this is running now. You can see it is in progress. Okay, but I will come back after it finishes the importation. See you later, guys. All right, guys, this has finished running. You can see now it says Spark session available as Spark. You see now it is available now. However, the first thing I would like us to do is to go and extract that data that we need. So if you go to Redfin/news/data center, I will give you the link to this in the description below, and you can go in right there. For those of you that have watched my previous video where I showed you how to where we use Python to extract that data, you already know where the data is. Okay, so if you have not watched this video, I encourage you guys to go ahead and watch this video as well. Okay, we used Airflow to automate this process. Okay, so I will again come back right here, and then I'll use a bash command to extract this data. I will use a copy and paste right here. I will also give you this code. I'll give you all these things, the Jupyter notebook. I will give you this in my GitHub. Okay, so go ahead and fork my GitHub page where I have this code, or you can download it whatsoever way you want it. So what I'm doing right here is I'm doing %bash, because I want to run a bash command. Okay, so I'm using wget -o -http. So this is the link where we want to download our data. Where did we get this link from? This is the .gz. Okay, where did we get this zip that link from? If you come to this link right here, then you can come down to this city. Okay, so if you right click on this city, you can copy the link address. So depending on which of the data that you need, Redfin provides us this data at a national level, metro level, state level, county level, city, zip code, and neighborhood level. But we want to use city level. So if I right click this and I do copy link address, I can just show you that in a notepad right now. If I paste this, now you can see right here, guys, that this is the data we just downloaded right here. Okay, that we just copied the link. So it is this link that, let me close this, it is this link that you are going to put inside this your bash operator. Okay, now we are going to extract this data. So when we extract this data, and then we can then pipe it into our AWS S3 bucket. Remember, we have our AWS S3 bucket. We have this one right here, store raw data YML. Okay, so we are going to put AWS command. Okay, because remember that this is EMR, this is AWS service, and this is already pre-configured. The AWS CLI is already pre-configured on this system by AWS. Okay, and because of that, we just use the AWS command. So we say AWS S3 cp, that's copy, okay, dash S3 this is the path for our S3 bucket. Okay, and then you put a slash. What is the file name you want to call that file whenever we send it into this S3 bucket? We want to also call it this S3 market tracker this. Okay, we want to also call it this, and that is why we gave it this as well. Okay, so now let us run this. Take note, I'm going to be giving you all this in my GitHub. So press your shift enter, and now this is going to execute. Okay, I will give it some few seconds, let it execute. I will pause the video and come back again. Okay, very good, very good. This has run successfully. You can see last executed, and you can see all the data. We downloaded the data, you can see it right here, and then we pushed it into that S3 bucket. Okay, let us take a look. You can see it written to standard out, and then we piped it into to be copied into our S3 bucket. Okay, so if we go back to that S3 bucket, let's see, let us just refresh this page. Let's refresh that page and click on this store raw data. Let us click. Now you can see right here, guys, you can see that the size is 1.1 gigabyte. 1.1 gigabyte. We have been able to save to load this into our S3 bucket. Very good, guys, very good, guys. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to start our Spark session. Remember that our first line right here was to import our Spark session. Okay, and now we know that our Spark session is available. Okay, so now what we want to do is that we want to have Spark session.builder.app name. You can just give it an app name. So I can just say maybe Redfin data analysis .get or create. Okay, so we are going to assign that a variable Spark. So I'm going to run this. You can see that that is executed. Very good. And then what we want to now do is that if you remember our PowerPoint again, we are running Jupyter Notebook, right? Inside our Amazon EMR, we have Apache Spark being installed, right? That's part of what part of the software that was installed in our Amazon EMR, and then now we are calling pyspark API. pyspark API, that's what we are using, to write our code right now. We extracted the data from Redfin into our S3 bucket. Okay, that's the raw data file. Now we want to grab that data file inside that raw S3 bucket. We want to grab it back and then start to do some simple transformation. Okay, now let us close this and then let us do Redfin underscore data. Let's assign it a variable name. Remember, we have our Spark session right now, so I'll say spark.read.csv, and then I'll put the path of the file. Then I'll say header equals to true, because we have a header for the data. Okay, for those of you that have watched my video right here, if you have not watched it, I encourage you to go and watch this. I showed you how the data looks like in a CSV. Okay, because in this video we converted that data into CSV, and then we took a look at the different columns and how the data looks like. Okay, now then we want to say infer schema. Okay, and then the separation is a tab delimited file, so we can then run this. Let us run this. So this also might take some few seconds to run. We would pause the video and then go out, and then whenever I finish running, we'll come back. Remember that we are running this on Amazon EMR with our clusters being provisioned. Okay, all right, see you when this finish running. So now you can see that this has finished running. We have our data right now. If you open this Spark job progress, you can see right here, guys, that all this has finished running. Let me see if I can bring it back so that you guys can see the full picture. Okay, very good. You can see complete, and then I can close this. Now we have our data. Okay, now if you want to see the first 3 rows of the data, you can just do redfin underscore data.show. Then you can put 3 right here. Remember, we are running pyspark code right here now. This is not pandas, this is pyspark. Okay, we have our Redfin data variable, and then we want to see the first 3 rows right here. If I run that, we should be able to see that. You can see it right here, guys. You can see it. Although, because this is not a big screen, because of that, we are not able to really see it very well. But don't worry, we are going to be seeing it very well later when we drop some of the columns. But at least this shows you that we have data in this. This shows that we have been able to extract the data. Okay, so let me make this smaller. Okay, this is good. This is good enough. Now let us go to the next thing right here. There is something also we call schema, print schema. If you want to check the schema of this data, we can say redfin underscore data.print schema, and then this is going to return to us the different columns. You can see how many columns we have. I think it's about 58 columns. You can see the different data types that each of these columns are. Remember that we infer schema, and then we can see all the different schema. You can see not labeled true, all these different things. We can see the data types that was inferred by the Spark session, by the pyspark. Okay, very good. Now that we see that, I'm just trying to show you the different types of analysis you could do right, or the different kind of line of code you could write to see whatever thing you are interested in. Okay, now what about if you are interested in seeing the column names? You want to see the column names, so you say redfin underscore data.columns. You can see these are the different column names. For those of you that are new in pyspark, this is an opportunity for you to start getting introduced to pyspark. We are writing pyspark code right here. Okay, now what I want to do right here is that, what about if I don't want all these columns? Let's say you want to do some machine learning model, or you want to do some analysis, but you don't want to use all the columns, right? These are about 58 columns, but you want some specific columns to be used in this your analysis. Okay, so what you can do is So right here, take your data frame. This is our data frame. Then do dot select and then put all the columns you are interested in a list. Okay. So now that we have that, we could select that and then let's show that. Let's put dot show right here. Okay. So that means that we are saying that for out of all these columns, we only want to select this specific columns. Okay, and then let us show the data frame. Okay, let us assign it to a different variable name, df underscore redfin. Let us enter. Remember, enter is shift enter. Okay, this might take some few time, okay, some few seconds or 1 or 2 minutes. Let us pause the video and come back when this is done. Okay guys, this is done. Yeah, pretty much this takes this was faster than I thought. You can see right here now, guys, that you can see we have period end column, period duration, city, state, property type, median sale, and every of these things right here up to this last, updated column. You can see right here, even though, it's still because of my screen size, you can still see that the columns got divided into 2 rows. Okay, that's fine. If you have a bigger screen, you should be able to see it very well. Okay, now one other thing that we can also do is that, what about if we want to check the total number of rows that we have right here? I can just do Redfin. Remember, this is our data frame now. I can then do dot count. This is also going to take some few minutes, so I will run it and then pause the video and come back. Usually dot count takes some time to run. Okay, let's come back when this is done. Now, very good, guys. Now you guys can see that we have 4.9 million rows right there. You can see, okay, 4.9 million, right? 4.9 million rows. Okay, now what about if we want to count the number of nulls for each of those columns? Okay, so if I want to count the number of nulls, you see, count null values in each column. Okay, now in this case I have to import what we call is null. So .sql, you say from pyspark.sql.functions import is null. And what I'm doing right here is I'm using a list comprehension. I believe for those of you watching this video now, I believe you understand list comprehension already. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is I'm looping through this list, because df underscore redfin.columns is going to give you a list, right? And then if you loop through, okay, so for each column name, right, we are checking if there is null values, and then we are counting that null values, right? And then we are going to put all of that in a list, and that's why you have this list. That's why it's a list comprehension. And then we are going to print out that list. You are going to see the result right here. Okay, let's just press shift enter and wait for some minute or so for the result to be ready. Very good. Now guys, you can see that we have some of those columns that some of those columns do not have null values, while some of them do have null values, right? But which columns have null values, which ones do not? Let us run this other code to display the results so that we can see which ones have null values, which ones do not. So what I'm doing right here is I'm enumerating these columns, right? Because this is going to give us a list. Then you enumerate the list. So we want to get access to this null count right here, right? Because when you get the index and you get the column name, right, from this list right here, using this enumerate function, right, then the index that we get, the index for each of these columns, we can get the value of the null count from this that we got right here. Okay, this null count. Okay, so I would run this, and then we can see right here that the period end has 0 null values, city has 0 null values. You can see these different columns have their own null values. You can see right there. Okay, Also, if you want to check the number of missing values or missing rows, if you want to check the total number of missing rows that we have in this data, you can also go ahead to run this. I will not run this right here because of our time, but what you should be seeing right here is that I'm doing this data frame.na.drop. So I'm saying drop the NA and then count. So that's going to be the remaining count. And then you can say the total count minus the remaining count. That should give you the number of missing rows. Okay, so you can run that. Let me add more cells to this right here. You can just click this plus sign so you can add more empty cells. Okay, now you can run that. Take note, it's going to take some time to run. Like I said, this dot count usually takes some time. Okay, now what we can then do right there is that you can also run this function, right? Because when you get your remaining count, when you get your remaining counts here, if you want to see the value, you can just run this to know the remaining rows. That is, after you do a drop NA, you can then check the remaining count. Okay, very good right there, guys. Also, what about if we want to then drop NA? Remember that what we did right here is that we drop NA here and then we count, and then we'll assign that count to this variable, but we have not actually dropped the NA entirely in terms of assigning it to a new data frame or to remove the NA in place. Okay, so that's what we want to do right now. I want to actually remove all the NA now, and then I can count the number of remaining rows. So what that means is that what number you're going to get here should be the same number you are going to get right here in this cell. Okay, but I don't want to run these two cells to save our time, so let me run this one right here. Let me just run this one right here. So right now what we are doing is we are actually indeed dropping. So this is going to run for some time, and then I'll come back when it finished running, and then we go from there. Okay, now very good, guys. Now you can see that we dropped NA right here, and then we counted the number of rows that are left. You can see now we have 4.4, right? Whereas previously we had 4.9 when we had not removed NA. Okay, very good, guys. Now that we have that, what I would like us to do is now let us validate if we still have NA or not. Let us rerun this code right here. We want to count null values in each column to confirm if we have removed all NA. Okay, so let us just rerun. If this runs successfully, we should have a list like this, but it should all be zeros. That is, there should be no null values. This will take some time. Okay, and then I'll come back when it finished running. Very good. Now you can see that this has finished running, and we have all zeros right here, meaning all our columns have zero null values, no NA. Okay, very good. Let us go ahead to save this. Let's make sure we save it. So I'll click on that save. Okay, and the saving. Okay, now it is saved. I believe it is saved. Okay, and then one thing I wanted to point out right here is that you will notice that right here imported is null, right? So I could have as well import all the functions from the very first cell. I could have as well just come to the first row right here and just say from pyspark.sql.functions import asterisk, right? So that would have imported all the functions for me. Okay, or I could even as well imported all the different functions right here, like call. I can say comma, then I can say is null, and all other functions, but I don't want to import everything on this first cell so that we can be able to import them on the necessary cell so that you guys can see what I am doing. Okay, however, in the real life you would have imported all the necessary functions from the first cell. Okay, but in this case I just wanted us to see how those different libraries are imported, okay, or those different methods as the case may be, and that, or those different functions, okay, and that's why I'm importing them one after the other. Okay, so now let us do this right here also. Let us also, from the SQL.functions, let us import year and month. What am I trying to do right here? If you come back to our data set right here, to our data frame, you can see we have period end, right? And this period end is dates. You have the year, month, and the day. Okay, so I want to grab the year, and I also want to grab the month. Okay, and that's what I want us to do right here, and that's why I'm importing year and month. Okay, and so what I'm doing right here is our data frame dot with column. Okay, so with column is going to take this first argument, which is going to be the new column that you want to create, the name of the new column you want to create. It could be the existing column, and it could also be a new column you want to create. But in this case, I want to create a new column. I will say period underscore end underscore year. Then I will say year. Remember that we have imported this right here, comma, bracket call, and we have imported call from our first cell, and then this column. This column is the period end column, which is the date object, where we have the year, the month, and the day. Okay, so in this case I want to extract the year, and then I want to put it in this column. Okay, so that is what we want to do. We could also just do that also for we can also put this right here and do that for month. Okay, so that means after we got that, we want to do it for month also. Period end month is the new column we want to create, okay, from this same column. Okay, and then we can just run this. Okay, that has finished running. Now that we have finished running there, what I can do is I can decide to drop the period end column. I don't need it anymore. So depending on your use case, let's say you are doing some machine learning training and you don't want to use this period end column, the only column you probably needed is end, this year column, and this month column. Okay, so that means you can drop this. So we are going to use data frame dot drop. So put the column name, and then this last updated, I don't need it. I also want to drop that. So I will run that. That has also dropped. Okay, so now what I also want to do is that if you look at what might be happening, maybe I should just show you first so that you have an idea of what is going on. Let me show you how the data frame looks like now. This is going to run. It's going to take maybe 1 or 2 minutes or so, and then I will come back, and then I would, oh, it has finished running. Okay, very good. Very good. It ran successfully. Okay, this one right here now, you can see that now we don't have the period end anymore. We only add the period duration. And then if you look at this last column right now, period end date and the period end year, which we just created right here, end month and end year. Okay, you can see that we have that right now. You can see that this period end month, it is 6, and then period end year, it is 2019. So now what about if we want to map all these months that are in integer? Let us map it to the actual month, the name of the month. So 6 should be June, right? 4 should be April. What about if we want to do that? How do we do that? So let me show you that right here. Okay, so there might be different ways for you to do it, but this is one way. Okay, so from these functions again, let us import when. Okay, so what we can then do is our data frame dot with column. So this is the column, right? With column, take note, this is the same column which we have before. So that means that we are not creating a new column right here, but we are just updating the column. So that means anywhere we say 1, anywhere the period end column is equals to 1, make it January. Anywhere is equals to 2, make it February, and so on. Otherwise, if it is not having 1 to 12, either 1 or 2 or 3 up to 12 or 12, then we can say otherwise put unknown. Okay, so now if we run this right now, very good, we have executed that. And then what we can then do is we can say, okay, let us take a look at the data.show. So let's wait, maybe this also will run quickly as we run this one. This one ran within seconds. Okay, very good, it has run. Now you can see right there, guys, now that the first is June, second is April, then June. Just like right here, June is 6, April, right, that's 4, and then June 6. That's the same thing that we got right here, June, April, June. Very good. Now you guys can see how we are able to do some transformation of this data set in our EMR using pyspark that we are running on a Jupyter notebook. Okay, again guys, if you are new on this channel, go right now and subscribe to our channel and click on the bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. And also, if you have any question for us, put your question in the comment section below. Okay, and if you are also finding this valuable, please put that in the comment section, because as you comment about this video, then YouTube algorithm might be able to rank us higher. And also click that like button, that also helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Okay, now very good guys, now that we have gotten our data frame, this is what we are interested in. We don't want to do any more transformation. Now, according to our schematics that we had, our architecture, we have finished our transformation. Now we want to load it back into S3 bucket. Okay, we want to save it into S3 bucket so we can have this. So we want to write the final data frame into an S3 bucket. We want to do it as a package file this time around. Okay, so what we can do is that we can say this is our S3 bucket, right? We give it a variable name. So we have this. Remember that we had created the S3 bucket previously. Let's go back there. This Redfin transform zone YML. So that is what I am putting right here. Okay, and then I want to give the file that is going to be generated a name. So I'm giving it Redfin _ data _ package. Okay, I need to give it a name. So now I'll come to my data frame .write. Okay, .mode. What mode do I want? I want it to overwrite. If there's any file in there already, I want it to overwrite it. Okay, you could also have append, so depending on whichever one that you want. Okay, but in this case I want to overwrite. Then I'll say .package, then goes into this S3 bucket. Remember, we have already said this S3 bucket is this full path right here, so we'll give this right here. Let's go first of all to our S3 bucket. Let's be sure that we don't have anything right there. So if I click on this, you can see if I refresh, there is nothing right here. Okay, so now let us run this cell. So this is going to take a few seconds, I believe, to run, and then it's going to populate in our S3 bucket. Let's give it some time to run. Or better still, I can pause the video and then come back to it when it finished running. Okay, all right guys, see you later. Very good guys, now you guys can see that this has finished running. Very good. Now let us go to our S3 bucket to verify if it has finished, if it indeed was able to load into our S3 bucket. Let us go to this tab. You can see previously, like we showed, there was nothing inside this S3 bucket. Now let us refresh this. Very good. Now you can see Redfin _ data _ package. Now we have been able to show that this is a success. Okay, Again, what did we do, guys? We were able to provision our Amazon EMR, right? And then we connected it to our Redfin source data, and then we got those files. We put that in our S3 bucket. Okay, we had an S3 bucket for that, and then we grabbed the data back again inside our EMR using Jupyter Notebook and pyspark code to then do some transformation. We checked the data, we did some few, checking on the number of rows, dropping NA and all of that. And then the resulting data, we write it as a package file inside our S3 bucket back again. Very good, guys. And also one other thing I wanted to show you also is that, remember that when we created our studio and our workspace, we also created a bucket where we said that the Jupyter Notebook by default is going to be saved by the AWS. Okay, so if we click on this, you can see this is where our Jupyter Notebook is created. You can see Redfin EMR workspace.ipynb. You can see that right there. Okay, that means that you can download this and share with anybody and all of that. You can see. So guys, we have been able to run this project. Yes, it was a long journey, but it's really worth it. Okay, we have been able to learn how to use Amazon EMR to perform extraction and transformation of Redfin data. You can also use this in any different kinds of data. Okay, and also in the next video, what I think we can then do is that we can automate this process. As you can see, everything that we did right here was all manual. And the reason I did it first was to show you guys how we provision Amazon EMR and how we can be able to connect to the Redfin source using the wget command, the bash command, and also be able to use pyspark to do transformation and then to be able to interact with our S3 bucket. Now we know how to do it manually. Okay, but what about if we want to automate this process using Airflow? Okay, and that is what we are going to be doing in the next video. We are going to be using Airflow to automate all these processes, and then we are going to connect the resulting data to Snowflake. Okay, so that means that when the data gets into our S3 bucket as a package file, we want to load it into Snowflake. Previously, I showed you in this video right here how you can automate uploading a CSV file into a Snowflake table. Okay, but in the next video is going to be a package, just like as you can see that this time around we generated a package file in our Transform S3 bucket. Okay, so now when we get this, we want to be able to automatically load it into a Snowflake table. Okay, how do we use Airflow to be able to automate all this process? Basically, the extraction, the transformation, and the loading onto Snowflake table. All that we are going to be exploring in our next video. Stay tuned, guys. Again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe right now. Click on the like button so that we can be ranked higher by the YouTube algorithm, and put your comment in the description. Put your comment in the comment section below. And also, when you are done with this project, do not forget to delete all the necessary things that you have provisioned, such as your Jupyter Notebook, your workspace. You need to stop and delete the workspace, delete your studio, delete your S3 bucket, terminate your EMR. Okay, terminate your EMR. Although if you don't terminate it, it's going to terminate itself based on that date or time that you put for it to terminate automatically. But if you are done before that time, it's better for you to just terminate it yourself. Okay, you can also delete your VPC and the service role, the instant profile role that we had created, all the different things that you have used on on during this project, so that you don't get charged for this. Take for example, even the user that you created, although you're not going to be charged for that, but if you don't need it anymore, you can just remove that user. Okay, very good guys, very good guys, very good guys. And again, take note that all this code that we have used right here, this Jupyter notebook, make sure you save it and download it so that you can put on your GitHub, okay, so that you can use it as part of your portfolio. Okay, in my own case, I'm also going to have saved it right now, and I'm also going to download it and put it in my GitHub, so that if any of you want to fork it or you want to download it, you can download it and then use it for when you are running this project. Okay, and every other link that I've used in this project, such as this Redfin link, and then where I explained this EMR, I'm going to be giving you all this in the description below. Okay, guys, please help to share this video among your friends. Okay, please share this video among your friends, among your family, among your teammates, your colleagues. Okay, and please encourage them to subscribe so that they can learn more about these data engineering things from our website. Okay, I mean from our YouTube channel. And also very soon we are going to start exploring Azure Cloud. Okay, we're going to be reproducing some of the projects that we have done previously, but then we are going to be using Azure Cloud to execute those projects. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.